All right, so we're going to take a look, CIT 15. I think we're in week 8, are we? Yeah, that's what it says on the website. And we're going to look a little bit tonight at threats to your digital assets. So we talked last week about just keeping yourself safe. Let's do a little review on that one, because the more you roll around in something, the more it sticks. If you don't believe me, just go ask my dog. Right? It's how a dog gets something to stick. It rolls around in it. Speaking of which, one of my dogs is on its last days. He's not looking good. He's had a good long life, but still, dogs are good friends. So what did we learn last week before I start crying quick?
To freeze your credit.
Yeah, freeze your credit. That's a good one. Right? So maybe we'll just type up our little things that we learned last week. We'll type them up right here. Yeah, except that's not all white. We'll get rid of that. And we'll get rid of this. And this is some of the stuff we're going to learn tonight. So we learned last week, freeze your credit. Right? Super important. TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, the 3 credit bureaus. You're in the United States of America. I don't know how it works in Europe or in Paraguay or in India. Those are like other countries where I don't live. Or Venezuela. And what's that one? New Zealand. That's where I want to live. But in America, you freeze your credit, 3 credit bureaus. TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. I had a friend who was a substitute teacher, and he grew up in the ghetto. You guys want to hear this story? His name was... Dang, I'm spacing on his name. It's been a long time. What's his last name? Can't remember. Not going to say it anyhow. It's on video. But he grew up in the ghetto, and he grew up kind of hard. And then he had a gangbanger who was giving him a hard time in class, sub in high school. And so he said, hey, stay after. Like all morning, he's giving him a hard time. He said, look, man, I grew up in the ghetto too, and if you don't stop giving me a hard time, I'm going to come find you with my homies and whoop your butt after school. And the kid's like, you can't say that. You're the teacher. He goes, yeah, go tell the principal. Who do you think he's going to believe? Now go to lunch, come back, and don't give me a hard time when you come back. Kid came back, didn't give him a hard time. It was kind of funny. I remember the guy's name. It just took me a second. All right, what's freeze your credit? And then I saw him, and I was like, you remember that story? He's like, I don't, but that totally sounds like me. It's too long ago. Freeze your credit. What else did we learn? Huh? So secure your Wi-Fi, right? So that's a good one. And use a VPN, virtual private network, you know. And then what else? We said let's keep track of your finances and use a credit card, because the Fair Credit Billing Act said you aren't liable for more than $50 if somebody, if there's fraud on your credit card. But use QuickBooks to track all your finances, and you want to use an accountant to do your taxes so you get to take advantage of all those write-offs and not pay as much in taxes. That's the important part. Anything else? Does that cover it? Ooh, password management. So LastPass, password management. I don't know what other systems are out there. That's the one I use. Anybody use something else? That's pretty good stuff. I would take a picture of that, implement all those things, or write it down. You gonna take a picture, or she's getting your phone out? What is this world coming to with that Vegas thing?
Oh, yeah.
Crazy, man. Guy in a hotel room, just a bunch of people wanting to have a good time listening to a concert. You want to kill some people. Like, why don't you get a list of people that would be good to kill and go after them? I'm not going to mention any of those names, which I think should be on the list right now. But seriously, just a bunch of people going to a concert. Like, you want to go out in a blaze of glory and take some with you? There's some people that should go down probably, you know, like that aren't doing too good for society on a large scale.
Have they figured out why he did that?
You know, the only why when somebody does something like that is because you're crazy,
Obviously.
right? Like, you know, he'll have some reason in his own head, but that reason's crazy. Because something went wrong in your head or your upbringing or you got broke somehow. And the movies don't help, right? The pornography of violence. You go to the movies and it's just like, or you play these video games. I played Grand Theft Auto for 6 hours one time. And then the next day I was at the airport and there's this lady whining at the counter. And in my head, I just pictured walking over and hitting her and stomping on her. Because like for 6 hours the last night before, I've been playing Grand Theft Auto. I was like, well, that's way too much Grand Theft Auto. That stuff gets in your head. That was nuts, man. I was like, I haven't played that game since. I liked it. It was a fun game in that dark kind of way. You know that game? You're the gangster and you have to get money. And so you mug people. That's like the whole intent of the game. And you like steal cars and sell drugs and try to avoid the police. And it's like your gangster lifestyle. We're getting nowhere. All right. So that's last week. This week, identity theft and hackers. It's kind of cool. Describe how identity theft is committed and types of scams identity thieves perpetrate. Describe the different types of hackers and tools they use. Explain what a computer virus is, why it's a threat to security, how a computing device catches a virus, and symptoms it may display. List different categories of computer viruses and describe their behaviors. They screw your computer up. That's all you need to know. Explain what malware, spam, and cookies are and how they impact your security. Describe social engineering techniques and explain strategies to avoid falling prey to them. So we'll talk about social engineering techniques first as a hacking. When we talk about hacking, there are people will categorize everything, including there's the category of people who categorize things, and there's a category of people who they don't categorize things. Two categories of people, those who categorize and those who don't. But hackers categorize them into black hat and white hat hackers. A white hat hacker is somebody that hacks for the good, right? You could hire them to come hack your system, see if they could get in. They're called penetration testers. And that's a job. And you can listen to this really cool podcast. I got to look it up because I don't remember the name of it. Hackable. That's the name of the podcast, Hackable. And they have this one Pond, PWND podcast that I listen to, which is really good about hiring a penetration tester, white hat hacker to see if they could break into your system and steal your identity. So black hat hackers are ones who hack because they want to do something malicious. So social engineering is one way of hacking. It's probably the most powerful technique. Instead of actually physically or digitally trying to break into a machine, you just talk to the person and have them give you access. And so one might be to call people and say, hi, I'm calling from Microsoft, and we saw that there's an issue with your computer. I'm calling to help you fix it. Are you at your computer right now? Cool. Can you sit down and can you right click here? Can you go there and do you see this? All right, that's what we need to fix up. I'm going to send you a file. I don't have or maybe you do have their email. I've got your email here. Is that your email address? This is where I'm sending the file. Okay, I'm sending that now. You got that file? So download that, click it, and it's going to run and it's going to fix everything on your computer so that I could get into it and steal all your money. Did you get that email yet? Right, like that. And then people are like, okay. Or I'm calling from your bank. right? I'm calling from your bank and whatever. Or did I tell you the one about the IRS? Did I tell you that one last week? Have you gotten that call? So I got a call. Is Mr. Todd McLeod there? Yeah, this is Todd. Who is this? My name's Janice Helpburn, and I'm calling from the IRS. Do you have a pen? You're calling from the IRS. Yes, Mr. McLeod, what I need you to do first is write down my operator ID number and my name. Do you happen to have a pen, or could you please get one? Yeah, sure. Hold on. I'll go get a pen. All right, go ahead. So my name is Janice Helpburn. That's Helpburn. And my operator ID is 643279Q9. And the phone number that you can reach me at is right here. Can you read that operator ID number back to me, please, Mr. McLeod? Sure. And by now it's like, what the hell is going on? The IRS is calling me? Sounds kind of official. I read it back to her, right? It's like, Mr. McLeod, I'm calling to inform you that you have $172,314 in back taxes that are unpaid. And because you have not responded to our previous attempts to contact you, we have issued a warrant for your arrest, and the sheriff should be serving that warrant sometime today or tomorrow. If you something, you might end up being taken down to jail, but you can post bail according to Statute 3214 of IRS Stipulation Code 9. And then once you're out on bail, you can have your attorneys contact us to resolve this issue. Mr. McLeod, do you have any questions? No? Thank you very much, Mr. McLeod. I wish you a good day, and I hope this resolved amiably for you. Click. It's like, what the hell was just that? Right? And then you call back the number, you're in a panic, and it's like, well, let me pass you up to the senior manager, and maybe the senior manager could do something, and the senior manager explains it, and then, I don't know where that leads eventually, but it probably has something to do with them taking payment from you. I was freaked out. I called my accountant and I said, hey, I just got this call. He said, you're a sucker. Hung up on me. He laughed. That's not real. True story. It was intense, dude. I was freaked out. Because it's like, I don't know, maybe somebody jacked my identity and and they used my social security number and now I owe all kinds of taxes. I don't know. And I'm going to jail for the night? I'm not going to do well in jail, man. I only bench 130. It gets primal real quick. What's that? Huh?
A guy called my brother too, and so he said the same thing that she said, and he's like, well, if you can't pay up, go to like a dress store and give him like an iTunes gift card.
What?
Do what?
He wanted my brother to give him an iTunes gift card.
That's so bogus.
The IRS?
That would have been like so
So I'm
silly.
like, no,
That's not the IRS. Yeah.
IRS want money.
Give this number a call, they're going to take you to jail, this and that. Like you just said, yeah.
But the person who talked to me was pretty on point. Like they were sounded good, and it's like, whoa, that person's great at their job, stealing money from people. A lot of times when telemarketers call me or whatever, I like trying to sell them something. It's like, oh, cool, where are you calling from? Cool, have you ever heard about? And then try to sell them something. It's kind of fun. So that's social engineering. So strategies to avoid falling prey is always be dubious, questionable, skeptical, skeptic. Be a skeptic. And if it's your bank, say, okay, cool, I'll call you back. And call the real bank, right? Like the IRS, good luck. That's why that's such a good scam, because the IRS doesn't know its elbow from its knee, doesn't know what's going on. Good luck even trying to talk to somebody there. Government websites, government institutions. Heck, you going to this school have experienced it enough, trying to figure out how to make things work here, right? It's hard. And but the banks, I call my bank up, right? Like if somebody said they were from my bank, let me hang up on them and call my bank directly and call the number, on the back of my ATM card or on Google when you search for your bank, and that's the banks know what's going on. They're like, no, nothing's happened with your account. See it all right here. You're fine. Okay, good. Thank you. So you just want to be skeptical. That's the way you avoid those techniques. Malware, spam, and cookies. Malware, mal is malicious. Is there anybody in here named starts with MEL or MAL? I always thought that's a bad thing to name your kid. And I could say this because I'm kind of like in the club of having gotten a bad name. So I'm in that club with you. Like mine's not Mal or Mel, but mine's Odd. Odd. People have been calling me Odd my entire life. Does the name make the person? I think it might have something to do with it. I'm kind of odd. I don't know. I don't really like my name. I've thought about changing it, but that seems kind of like a lot of work. Because then people are, no, my name's Stefan now. Literally, dude, the guy I knew in high school, I was like, what's up, John? He's like, hey, I go by Stefan now. Is that your middle name? No, I just liked it, so I changed my name to Stefan. All right, sweet, dude. So malware is malicious. The prefix mal means bad. It's bad. And so it's bad software, malicious software. And like viruses and Trojan horses. Like these are different names for just describing software that screws your system up in some way. Malware, virus, Trojan horse. And they have slightly different characteristics. So a Trojan horse is it looks like one thing, but then it does another thing, right? So it's like, oh, I'm going to install this free piece of software which allows me to listen to MP3s or rip MP3s or do BitTorrent, right? BitTorrent files and get free movies. And yeah, that software will do that, but it'll also then install key logging software. So everything I type on my keyboard gets automatically sent to somebody over the internet. And so they could see, oh, I typed in, I'm trying to think of a bank. I typed in, tell me the name of a bank, somebody. Chase. I typed in Chase and I typed in a username and a password, and they'd have that then because all the keystrokes were logged and sent to somebody. So that's like malware, virus, Trojan horse. Trojan horse looks like one thing but also does another thing. A virus is usually transmitted, communicated between computers somehow. So one computer can infect another computer, or you get an email from somebody and then it gives you a virus which then sends out emails to others. So there's this infection quality to viruses. You could get viruses and things from anywhere, like even images on web pages can have viruses because your browser is going to render that. So if there's some way to take advantage of that, then it could be done. So the way you protect yourself from malware, viruses, Trojan horses is you use antivirus software, and you also use a Mac, because Macs or Linux are less vulnerable than Windows machines. They're just a better operating system.
What kind of antivirus software do you advise that you like?
I don't use one.
Oh, you
I should, but I kind of believe in the power of Mac, and I need to get one on my machine. Do as I say, not as I do.
I know.
I just haven't got around to it. I need to talk to all of my friends about that, see if that's changed. If a Mac is invulnerable, I don't think it is. So spam, you all know what spam is. It's that wonderful meat that comes in the can. And it's also, they love spam in Hawaii. Like World War II, they just had way too much spam left over and it all ended up in Hawaii, and then the Hawaiians got addicted to it. Like you go to restaurants and it's like you could get chicken and rice, you could get spam and rice. In Hawaii, McDonald's. Are you from Hawaii?
No, I've been there, but in McDonald's, they serve spam.
That's
So weird.
awesome. Huh? Yeah. you know why they don't call it a quarter pounder in Europe? Why don't they call it McDonald's a quarter pounder? They call it a Royale. Why do they call it a Royale, not a quarter pounder? Yeah, because of the metric system. Look at the brain on Chet. You guys know that from the movie Pulp Fiction? There you go. Anymore now, like I'm getting so old, students are like, what was Pulp Fiction? I'm like, get out of my class. Just leave. Don't. You could come back next week, but I don't want to see you this week. I'm like channeling Paul Palomino tonight. I like talking like other people. It's kind of fun. You ever do that? Just experiment with it a little bit. It's how we learn. Spam, because personality is flexible. So spam is too many emails being sent to you by people you don't want them to send them to you. You know that. And Google's really good at getting rid of spam. So like just right now, out of the gate, I'm going to tell you, if you're using AOL, it's like having an email that says, I'm an idiot. Stop using AOL. And same with Yahoo. Did you see the news today? 3 billion accounts at Yahoo hacked. Basically, every account at Yahoo is compromised. Stop using Yahoo. So if you use AOL or Yahoo, it's like broadcasting to the world that you know nothing about technology. So now that you know that, if you got it, stop using it. And how do you stop using it? You sign up for either Gmail or Proton Mail. If you use Proton Mail, people will be like, what's that? And you could say, you could get on your high horse and feel superior and say, it's the best email in the world. It's totally encrypted. It's built by the people at CERN, which is the Center for European Research Nuclear. And they're the same boys that invented the World Wide Web. Boys and girls, I need to say, to be accurate. Proton Mail is encrypted email. And so it's like extra secure. But you want to use Gmail or Proton Mail. And Microsoft just means that you're a big company. Stay away from them unless you're a big company. And when you get Gmail, you could go in there and you could say, forward email from this account. And you forward your email from your AOL or your Yahoo. And so all your email from AOL or Yahoo comes into Gmail, but then Gmail is built by people who know computers, unlike AOL and Yahoo, right? Like these are like the best computer scientists and software engineers in the world. And so it will go and sort out all your spam from anything that has value and stick all your spam over in this crap folder and give you all the stuff that has value. It's really good at that. So that's spam. And cookies track you. They get written on your computer. It's part of the specification for HTTP that websites can write cookies on your computer. So they're able to use those to see what sites you're looking at and what ads to serve to you. And it's super complex, right, in terms of the amount of data and cross-referencing that occurs. But basically it means if you go to Amazon and you search for red sneakers and then you go and you read some article about playing the guitar, you're going to see ads on the left side of that article that say they're all about red sneakers. And you're like, how did they do that? It's amazing. But that's what cookies do. And so it's gathering all kinds of information about your browsing. And if you want to be anonymous, we learned about VPNs and going incognito, and then you just can't be signed in places, you know. But your level of paranoia, right, kind of restricts your ability to do stuff. So one of the most fascinating things about computer viruses is Stuxnet. Stuxnet is one of the most dangerous computer viruses, most lethal computer viruses ever written, and is written by the United States government and Israel That's a speculation because the United States government didn't say they wrote it. But pretty much the only people that could have written it and who are motivated enough to write it were Israel and the United States of America. And it was a virus deployed against Iran, and it targeted Siemens controllers, which are a certain type of computing machine, which controls heavy industrial equipment like dams, like electric circuit grids, like centrifuges for refining uranium for nuclear bombs. And they needed to get this virus into the Iranian uranium, say that one 10 times fast, Iranian uranium processing facility. And that processing facility had no external connection to outside networks. It was completely sealed off. So how do you get a virus to computers which aren't connected to anything outside of this enclosed little thing? You have somebody walk it in. And what they did is they looked at the engineers who worked there, and then they watched them, and they said, that guy gets coffee there every morning. And then another guy went in right before that engineer, and he left a 64 gigabyte flash drive on a table where the engineer always sits, and on it were just some pictures. And then the engineer sat down and was like, oh my gosh, wow, 64 gigs, that's worth like $50, super nice, and or whatever. And then he looked at it, and there's pictures, and there's no way to get it back to the person, so formatted it and took it to work. But it was a special flash drive. So even when he formatted it, it looked like nothing was there but beneath the surface, right? When that thing got plugged into a computer, it could look, am I on this network? Are there Siemens controllers here? And if there are, okay, deploy this code. And the code went in and made the centrifuges spin faster so that they broke. But the computers all reported that the centrifuges were spinning the right speed. So the operators are like, no, they're running at the right speed. That's what the computer's reporting, but they kept breaking. And so Iran hired a German computing consulting company who came in and found it. And then they said, what is this code? And they put it on the web. Now everybody in the world has access to that code, which can target Siemens controllers and make things break. They had like the perfect example of the most dangerous. So it was like they said it's the first A-bomb, digital A-bomb, right? First digital weapon to be deployed that we know about. And now, the whole game now is like how to use technology to get done what you want to get done, control the masses, influence elections of the most powerful country on earth. I don't think we're the most powerful. I don't know if we're the most powerful country anymore, Like, if Putin can make help influence who gets chosen for president here, are we able to influence, Putin out of power there? I don't know. Like, they're really leveraging social media. There was a nice thing on Twitter the other day. Not Twitter, Reddit. Twitter post from Russia. Here we go. Boston Antifa. Antifa Boston. More gender inclusivity with NFL fans. And gluten-free options at stadiums. We're liking the new NFL. I'm not, so like, Trump was having problems with the NFL. Maybe Putin's not liking Trump now, right? And so now he's, now Putin is having all of his little Russian Twitter posters, right? This guy forgot to disable his location, having them all support the NFL as opposed to Trump. I don't know why this would, it's all about take a knee, take the knee, new NFL. Right, like defy Trump. Maybe they're just trying to create social unrest in America and make us rip ourselves apart from the inside. Why send your soldiers over to destroy an adversary where you could just piss the adversary off amongst themselves and they destroy themselves? Right? Maybe that's the game plan. Create enough friction and discord and hate and distrust I mean, nuts, man, right? Perfect. It's like in high school, but at like the large scale. In high school, like sometimes people would say something about somebody else that wasn't true, and then you'd hate that other person, but you didn't know it wasn't true because you believed the person who lied to you. It's like he's lying to us and we're believing it, so we're hating that person, but it's not true or whatever, We're a dumb species. We're highly intelligent, but we don't have much wisdom. And intelligence is relative. Identity theft, different types of hackers and the tools they use. So we'll look some of this stuff. Cybercrime, criminals, types of cybercrimes. I don't know what that statistic is. Rising attacks. I don't know what the blue stuff is. So identity theft and hackers occurs when a thief steals personal information and poses as you. Counterfeiting credit cards and debit cards. Like sometimes gas stations, you put in your debit card and it gets your ID, and then they are capturing also your number. So then they get your card ID and your number, and they can withdraw money. That's a pretty straight, whoa, that one would hurt if you're using your debit card to get gas. That's why you want to use credit cards. You don't have protection with the debit card. With a credit card, you do. But that thing that sometimes the card reader, they put a little thing over it, on top of it, to also capture the numbers. And then they might be sitting across the parking lot with goggles, seeing what you type in. I don't know how else they get your pen. Requesting changes of address. Types of scams. Anybody know anything about that? What's the requesting changes of address scam? Anybody read the textbook? Maybe, directing your mail to new locations so they could get identity theft, right? So they could get things in your name somewhere else. Opening new credit cards, obtaining medical services, buying a home. I don't see how somebody could steal your ID and buy a home because you know where they're at. Right? I mean, if it's a home, it's not like they took the money. White hat hackers, black hat hackers. Packet analyzer. We learned about a keylogger. So a packet analyzer, a sniffer is like, what did they call those? I thought there was a name for it, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, the evil twin. So an evil twin. I tell you about evil twin hotspots. Wi-Fi hotspots, evil twin. So like if anybody have a Verizon person, and so you could go places and connect to Verizon locations free, right? Get free internet, like you're at the mall and it has Verizon free internet. No? Yes? How many people have stopped listening to me? Anybody have that thing where you can connect it like Comcast, different places or whatever? Xfinity, you can do that? Like there's Xfinity hotspots places and you just get on internet free. You don't have to pay to use it somewhere.
I can use my Fire Stick with Xfinity hotspot.
So where are some of the Xfinity hotspots you could use?
I'm in my home and I can use the hotspot.
Yeah, but where else?
At my work, there's one right by it. And I think if you go to certain, like public, I don't know specifically, but I know I've seen it come out here and there when I go to certain places.
If they Xfinity, then you can get
Right.
Really? Anybody who has Xfinity, you could just get internet from them at their...
If you already have your login.
What the heck? I didn't know that. I'm going to cancel Xfinity. People are getting through into... What?
That's what my brother does. Instead of using our home Wi-Fi, he uses the neighbor's Xfinity.
And it's like got a better connection?
Because
And-
we have so many people in the house, there's like 8 people with like 12 devices running on one Wi-Fi.
You could just do that with any Xfinity? Huh. And even if you secure your router, other people still get to just go through and get the internet? I don't know. That seems weird to me. So there's so much to know. Anybody have any clarity on that? Human, I know you do a little studying in the subject. So an evil twin is you post like an Xfinity hotspot, and then you say, yeah, connect to it, or a Verizon whatever hotspot. And but then your hotspot, you're just watching all the traffic. So anything that's not encrypted, you get to see what it is. So if you're using a VPN, you're safe. But if you're not and you're looking at things that aren't encrypted, then they get to see what you're looking at, what you're searching for. And in this podcast, it wasn't totally clear to me, but they had, what was the name of it? Hackable Evil Twin. They had examples of seeing people's passwords. Hackable podcast Evil Twin. So it's called an Evil Twin hotspot. I no longer have internet, ironically. I've been shut down. Isn't it cool? It's probably because I'm VPNing through Russia. You are disconnected. So hackable episode Evil Twin YouTube. We'll look at that here when I'm no longer recording. I wish I could pause my OBS right here, but I can't. It's a packet analyzer. It's a Trojan horse. I can't talk to you right now. Backdoor programs and rootkits allow hackers to gain access to your computer. Zombies are computers that a hacker controls. They're waiting for a time in which point they will all wake up and walk the earth and cause trouble. No, they'll wake up and do something at the same time. So they're infected and they're just sitting there waiting to go to work for somebody. And so somebody might then say, okay, at this time, I want all those 800 million computers that we've infected to start making requests to this web server, and then that web server is going to get a denial of service because too many requests are coming in and it can't handle it. And so real requests won't be able to get to it. Legitimate users are denied access to computer system. The system shuts down. DDoS. DDoS. I need to read about DDoS. DDoS attack. Define. DDoS, distributed denial of service, is a type of DOS attack where multiple compromised systems, which are often infected with a Trojan, are used to target a single system, causing a denial of service attack. So why is it DDoS, not just DOS? Denial? Distributed denial of service, there we go. So I don't know why they have denial of service and distributed denial of service. Botnet, large group of software running on zombie computers. Exploit kit, software that runs on servers searching for vulnerabilities. Logical ports are virtual, not physical communication paths. Your computer, website requests. So you could get software to do all this hacking for you. I was at a party one time. It was my parents' house. And there's this kid who was there. He's like 12 or 13 years old. He's sitting on his computer at the house at this party. He's just in a room by himself. And he's like, one of the people who was there is their kid. And I went over and I sat and I said, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just working on my computer. What do you like to do? Do you like to program? You like to play games? And he's like, yeah, I also like to hack. Oh, what kind of hacking do you do? I hacked Toshiba's website the other day. Really? How did you do that? And he's like this. And he totally hacked Toshiba's website while I was watching with these different pieces of software. He's like, they got this vulnerability right here. But I can't go any further than this. Otherwise, I get in trouble with the law. And he's like, how do you know that? Because the FBI came and visited me and they told me I can't go any farther than this. I was like, okay, that's cool. I gotta find out what that kid's doing and offer him a job. He's probably old enough now. So exploit software. Program that attaches to a computer, program to spread to other computers. Main purpose, replicate itself and copy its code to as many other host files as possible, as many other computers as possible. Secondary objectives can be destructive. Smartphones, tablets, and other devices can be infected with viruses. Any machine that runs software could be infected with a virus, right? Any. And so how do you get viruses? USB sticks, right? Plug it in here, take it home. Maybe you got a virus. So you want to make sure that you use antivirus software and check it. I don't know, going to porn websites, BitTorrent websites, downloading things you shouldn't download. So if you're going to do any of that research into the dark web, I'm doing research as to the dark web. I might write an academic paper about it. And as part of that, of course, I had to download the latest James Bond movie. If you're and I needed to order those guns off of the dark net just to see if it's legitimate. And of course, you know, I was going to turn all of that cocaine over to you, officer. Just doing research for academic purposes. I don't do any of those drugs or guns or anything like that. Though my wife says I totally seem like the type. We were at a restaurant and she's like, the waitress, I made some joke and the waitress was like, oh, you totally smoke weed. I'm like, I don't. She's like, yeah, haha, yeah, you do. And I was like, why does she think that? And my wife's like, you seem like that kind of a person. I was like, why? What is it about me? I don't know, it's your face. Does I have a weed smoking face? She's like, you're just not serious like other people. I'm like, I'm totally serious all the time. Oh yeah, right. It's cool if it's medicinal. I don't have enough brain cells, man. I gotta protect what I got. It takes me long enough as it is to learn things. So I don't drink, I don't smoke. But I breathe Fresno air, so I think it's about equal. Bane of my existence, man. I don't know what we're talking about. You could get a virus, anything, any device, run software code, it could be infected. And, you know, USB, you want to use antivirus software. That's basically the main takeaway. Boot sector viruses, logic bombs, worms, script, email viruses, encryption viruses. Encryption viruses, we got to look at this. Hold files hostage by encrypting them, ask for ransom to unlock them. Yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. And so that's ransom software is another way to think about that. And I think this had something. I think it was the pond or locked out. I'm liking this hackable podcast. I listened to it driving over to the coast a couple weeks ago. But they had another nice one. Maybe we'll go do that one where it's a hackable podcast, and we want pond. And is that the one where pond is the one with pond? You've been pond. Is that the one or locked out? Let me see what the other one was called. It's probably locked out. Hackable podcast locked out. So we'll hackable podcast YouTube. I don't know if that's the one that's locked out. We'll listen to the locked out one a little bit. Polymorphic. Viruses change their code or periodically rewrite themselves to avoid detection. That's sweet. Multipartite viruses infect multiple file types. Stealth viruses erase their code from files where they reside and hide an active memory. Wow. Adware displays malware. Adware displays sponsored advertisements. Spyware's unwanted piggyback program transmits information, tracks cookies, keystroke logger. Many anti-spyware packages are available. Spam, junk email, taxes, minimize spam, spam filter. Cookies are small text files received when you visit a website. They help companies determine the effectiveness of their marketing. Do not search your hard drive for personal information. May invade your privacy. Pose no security threat. Yeah, they invade your privacy. No security threat. And social engineering, we talked about that. Entices an individual to reveal sensitive info. Phishing, farming. Phishing's luring people to reveal information or go to a fake website. It's like an email that tries to get you to do something. They're phishing. I don't know why it's PH. Farming, malicious code planning your computer to gather info. Scareware, type of malware, attempts to convince you something's wrong and pay to fix it. What is a firewall and how a firewall protects your computer? How to protect your computer from virus infection, how passwords and biometric characteristics can be used for authentication, describe ways to surf the web anonymously, describe information you should never share online, list types of backups you perform. Backups are huge. Talked about that before, right? Like, if my computer's taken, I should be able to be up and running, like, on another computer. Just all my files are somewhere else and I can access them, right? So backing everything up. And I just installed a system with a friend where I have all of my data files in my house and they're video files, so they're really big. So it's like a 12 terabyte Synology NAS server. And then I sent him one to his house, which is like maybe 20 terabyte or 24 terabyte, and he installed it there. And then I store all my files on mine, but then they all back up to that one over there. And so, you know, if the house burns or something, all my data is over there and secure. So just investing in that. Explain negative effects, power surges, environment and power surges, major concerns when a device is stolen. So firewall is both hardware or software or both. And Windows and Mac OS include firewalls, and security suites include firewall software. Let's just search then for firewall. And movie on iTunes, firewall. Assist on iTunes, firewall. And top hit is just this. I don't have any firewall software there. Maybe under preferences and network. Is there like a network deal? Network. And automatic, I'm probably revealing information I shouldn't reveal right here. And advanced, there might be something in there where I could say what can connect and what can't. But basically, here's a picture of a firewall. And here's the internet. And some stuff can come through, but other stuff can't. So people talk about the Great Firewall of China. You can't get Facebook in China. You can't get Google. And they don't want you to look at that. We talked about that in here before, because Human, I think you shared about Iran. Yeah. So firewalls keep information out, but then you could use a VPN and go around it. Packet filtering, filter out packets sent to logical ports. So you have different ports on your computer. Like port 80 is for HTTP traffic. So if I ran a business and I didn't want people getting on the web, I could say block port 80 and nobody could go to the web. So different ports do different things. So I could open and close ports to only allow certain things to occur. And a logical port blocking, completely refuse requests from the internet asking for access to specific ports. So here are those ports. 80 is HTTP, HTTPS. So maybe we only want to allow secure connections. We say nothing can come in on 80. You always have to be 443. Antivirus software. So with antivirus software, the way it works is they identify viruses and then they figure out, okay, here are the viruses we're looking for, and then they update your definitions on your virus software so that they're looking for the right characters. And so software has a certain signature. It's written with certain code. So they just look for the code that's known for known viruses. And it's always being updated, the definitions. So portion of virus code that's unique to a particular virus. And then your definitions are what's downloaded to update your antivirus software to look for that signature. Quarantining just places the virus in secure areas so it won't spread. And inoculation records key attributes about your computer files and keeps stats in a secure place. So strong passwords, password management. So you can see like the best passwords here. Like this is poor, that's mediocre, that's better, this is best. Like at this point you need, password manager. And then you're going to need a password for your password manager, but that's only one password you have to remember. And so you just want to come up with like 5 words and a random number and character, alphanumeric and weird character, right? So the 5 words might be like blue eraser blinds Tokyo tequila, right? Like that's 5 words. I can remember it. Blue eraser blinds at the back of the window Tokyo tequila, and then like 24 exclamation point or something like that. And then it's like, okay, that's my password. That's really long. I can remember it because it's like 5 words that are just wacky together. And, and nobody else can guess that because it's not like my dog's name. Biometrics. Privacy tools. Private browsing and private incognito. Portable privacy devices. Virtual private networks. Yay. I like VPNs. Keep your information. Back up your files. So here we have a network attached storage and NAS device and home server. I'll show you that. So you could go to Amazon and you could search for a Synology NAS. Synology NAS. And so here's like 4-disc bay diskless network attached storage for $338, and then you would buy the disks to go in that, so you'd get that. And then when I came here, it would then be like, hey, do you want to get these 5400 RPM? This is $134, and that's 6 gig. What site? 4 terabytes, 3 terabytes, right? So I could get this one. I could put 4 of those in there. So this is like, for 4 of those would be like $550, and for this is $340. So it's like $1,000. But then this is my network storage, and then I could put somewhere else. So for like $2,000, if I'm a small business, I'm backing up all the data on site at my business, and I'm storing it all on site, and then I'm backing it up somewhere else. And you want it in different parts of the country, because if like, if you're in Puerto Rico and you had like your business data on this side of the island and your backup on the other side of the island, they're both gone because all of the island got completely destroyed, right? And so you want to like, hey, one's in New Jersey and one's in California. And that's $2,000, and you don't owe anybody any money. You could also pay people $50 a month, and they'll do it for you. But then $50 a month, how soon is it until you've spent that $2,000? 40 months. Right? That's only 3 years. And these will last 10, 7, 6, 5. And then you get to take them apart when they no longer work. And you get to control it more easily. So that's a NAS. NASs are really cool. Power surges, old or faulty wiring, down power lines, lightning strikes, Your power surge protector is probably not going to help you if lightning hits and goes through your house. Malfunctions at electric substations. Lightning is always, or power is always cycling, so the surge protectors prevents too big of a surge coming through to your machines. Protecting your physical assets. Keeping them from being stolen. Keeping data secure in case they are stolen. Finding a device if it is stolen. Whatever. Anybody have any questions? How is that going through the publisher's presentation? It's okay. So just like a few other thoughts, like when we talk about the internet and the World Wide Web and security and privacy, I can't help but to, I hesitate because I read an article today that said dumb people like conspiracy theories because it makes them feel smart. But, you know, where does like, you know, where does speculation end and feasibility, possibility end, and conspiracy theory begin? And so, like, and you know, there's some really interesting information that's out there, and some of that information is school and fall 2017 and CIT 15 lectures and week 8, I think we are. Security and privacy. And so we talked about that a little bit at the beginning of the year. Technology is a tool. Do you use it or does it use you? And who has information? You give up information. It's being collected. Who has it and what are they going to do with it? And humans have a history of being very egalitarian and humanitarian and helping humans, right? We've got a history of that. That's wonderful. And we also have a history of being like Lord of the Flies. And, you know, like, let's get rid of all those people who wear black. I don't like them. Let's put them on a train and we'll ship them to an island and then they'll just disappear, right? Like we did that, or humans did that in, you know, Nazi Germany. Let's get rid of all the Jewish people. They did it in Cambodia. Let's get rid of all the intellectuals under Pol Pot. They did it in Rwanda. I don't know who they were trying to get rid of there, right? There's always, even right now, it's happening in not Tibet, but where Aung San Suu Kyi, what country is she in? Aung San Suu Kyi is in Burma, is Burmese politician, and what country is it? It's got a different name. What is it? What is it? Huh? Burma. What's it called now? Yeah. And there's, yeah. And there's like all those, that's what they're called, right? They're all having to leave, and like the other country doesn't want them, and they're getting slaughtered, and it's just like, yeah.
Bangladesh government is saying that they can't accept them if that's not their problem, you know.
Yeah.
We already have lots of people in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
This big population in Bangladesh already we have.
Yeah. Horrible. I mean, it's just like, I mean, if you stopped and actually let, like, I don't know if this poem will come up. So, there's some poem, it's just like, you know, when something happens at a distance, it's not as real as if, like, we saw a mother and a father and their 2 kids, like, trying to stay alive and trying to get to safety and protect their children, and then some kid who's like 14 with a gun who's been told that these people are the slime of the earth. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Bap, 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 bap. And just shoots all of them and kills those kids and the mom and the dad, and They went from like, please help us, we just want, bap, 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 and they're all dead. I mean, if you saw that happen, you'd be like traumatized for life. You'd never lose that memory. And that's happening like right now. Right now. Right? And but we don't see it, so we, my coffee is too cold. Can you fix my coffee? This is like the third time you guys have made it too cold. I don't think I'll be coming back to this Starbucks. Right? It's just, I don't know, but that's the dance. There's in India, somebody tell me this myth. Anybody know this myth? The goddess of creation comes up and she gives birth to life and holds babies in both hands, and then she takes one hand and eats the babies in those hands. But it's like, life has this creation and destruction. She rises out of the river Ganges. So the point being is humans don't have a good history of, we have a history of doing well by each other, and we have a history of not doing well by each other. So who has information about you? What are they going to do with it? We took all the Japanese people in World War II and stuck them in concentration camps. And then we all, we didn't kill them and burn them, but we took away their property and in a lot of cases didn't give it back. And then, we had McCarthyism in the 50s where, if you had socialist principles or leanings, they were like, are you a communist? What do you mean you want to have everything be equal for all people? Well, that's what it says in the Declaration of Independence, right? We're all created equal. We declare these truths to be self-evident. I don't know. We're created equal, and from there, good luck. So, who has information about you, and what are they doing with it, and how are you being monitored? And so there's this great movie, The Lives of Others. And The Lives of Others, The Lives of Others, it won the Oscar for Best Foreign Film a couple of years ago, 2007, a decade ago. And it's about East Berlin Stasi officer, which was the police in East Berlin under, communist Berlin, Eastern Europe. And they would monitor people to see if they were, thinking thoughts which went against the government. And then if they were, those people would disappear. And so it's a story about a guy who's a Stasi police officer, and he's been told to monitor this guy who's a writer. And he can't help but to like the writer. And like after monitoring him for a while, he thinks really well of the writer. And I can't remember, it's been so long since I've seen it, how it turns out, right? But it's like he has this dilemma. Is he loyal to the state? Or, because that's his job? Or is he loyal to this man who he's come to respect him and appreciate his humanity? And he thinks of him even kind of maybe as a friend, even though the guy doesn't even know that, this other Stasi officer exists. Wonderful dilemma, right? And so it's a great movie about, thought police. Like George Orwell, Big Brother, 1984, which ironically, Orwell camera house, right? And there's this camera outside George Orwell's house. Here's George Orwell, novelist, political essayist, lived here, and 24-hour CCTV recording an operation in his house. It's like totally ironic. Maybe this is a fake. I don't know. It's saying fake. Maybe it's just a fake picture. So who has what information, and what do they do about it? How much are you being monitored? And then there's this guy. Anybody know this guy? So Edward Norton, I want to say, but that's not Edward Norton. He's the actor. That's Snowden. Ed Snowden, right? Ed Snowden? Edward Snowden. And Edward Snowden, whistleblower, he used to work for the NSA, which is the National Security Agency. And then he felt that things, we have rights as citizens for privacy, Like, look, I'm in the bathroom. Don't come in, right? Like, I have a right to privacy. Or, you know, I'm talking with my friends right now, and we're just laughing and having a good time. You know, freedom of speech, right? Like, I should be able to talk about stuff with my friends in the privacy of my house. But, you know, he saw, like, you know, Americans' rights being violated so much that he said, look, the public needs to know about this. And so as a citizen who believes in the principles of this country, I'm gonna inform the public of everything I've seen, and to do that, I'm gonna steal all these documents which prove it, and then run to Hong Kong and release some of that stuff, and give a little bit of a press conference. And so you could YouTube Ed Snowden and get this video, and he talks about like what he saw and how it violated his principles, and how he would rather die than live under a state going in the direction it's going. Like, things have to be pretty bad for somebody who seems pretty, for somebody to be motivated to do that. But coming from a principled perspective about wanting to support the principles for which this country are founded, about privacy and freedom, and not being able to tolerate what he saw happening, that's a pretty big deal, I think. So that's Ed Snowden and the NSA, and you know, he's not the only one. He says, I don't want to live in a world where everything that I say, everything I do, everyone I talk to, every expression of creativity or love or friendship is recorded. And then if people have that information, what are they going to do with it? Right? Like all these, like I record myself and put it on YouTube for the class, right? But like people, good luck figuring me out. Right? Like humans are complex, right? Hey, should we get rid of that Todd McLeod guy? He's kind of a liberal intellectual, has some pretty radical ideas, talks about freedom and principle. Maybe we should, I don't know, should you not? I'm a complex character, you know? There's a Solzhenitsyn, a Russian poet, and he said, the line dividing good and evil runs through the, if only it were so, let me find the quote. Solzhenitsyn, I don't know how to spell his name. If only the line dividing good and evil. If only there were evil people somewhere insidiously committing evil deeds, and it were necessary only to separate them from the rest of us and destroy them. But the line dividing good and evil cuts through the heart of every human being. And who is willing to destroy a piece of his own heart? That's a cool quote. So, you know, it's one thing Ed Snowden says that, right? But then, like, NSA spying on the home front line released this 12 years ago now. Right, a fascinating documentary, and now with social networking, it's just like amazing how much information's captured about all of us. And you know, some people even say, "Hey, here's this slide which was leaked from the government, saying when these companies gave backdoors to the government, so the government could capture information about people." Right, it's basically all the Silicon Valley tech firms. I don't know if that's true or not. Right, and you know, government surveillance TED Talk, this is just the beginning. You know, and here the PRISM surveillance program is a known program, you know, in America. FBI director on privacy, electronic surveillance, 60 Minutes. You know, so there's all kinds of stuff about, you just have to look for it, it's out there. Your phone company is watching, like, everywhere you go. Like when we're done recording, I'll show you something that blows the minds of some people in class. But it's like, whoa. So that's just like the other piece. Who has the information? What are they going to do with it? The dark secrets of a surveillance state. So it is really a weapon, a tool. But I think there's a new kind of, like in the past is like, let's get rid of people. And now I think they just like that probably still happens, definitely in some places, for sure, right? But now maybe the approach is more, that person has no power anyhow, so let's just neutralize them, so they don't have power. We don't have to kill them. Just look, they have no power. They can't do anything. And so I don't know how you'd neutralize somebody that way. I guess with me, I'm kind of neutralized because I just have to work all the time. I don't have time for anything else. It's like, you guys, okay, everybody else running the world some other way. I don't have time to do anything. Become concerned or try to make a difference about stuff. It's like, I got to pay bills, dude. I got to make money. Wake up at 6, go to bed at 10 or 11. I just work the whole time in between. Poor me. What were we going to look up? Oh, I was going to show you something. All right, so that's the end of this video, which is really long.